Every year in the month of December, I sit and I write down what I will do next year. And it has to be aspirational. Every year, whatever I write, I achieve at least 30 to 40% of whatever I write.
So Mr. Harjeet sir, thank you for taking out your time to be a part of this video. I really appreciate it.
My pleasure.
So the very first part is I would want you to tell a little bit more about yourself to the audience, considering that you hold a strong position in the geo, and other than your work profession, you are an influencer and author. So if you can tell a little bit more about yourself to the audience.
I was born and brought up in a small city in Uttar Pradesh called Bareilly. And I come from a very humble background. What we used to have in our house was two almirahs full of books. So I read a lot, and that is the reason I became a writer. So, and then my father used to write poetry. My mother also used to write poetry. What my father used to do with me was he used to give me a topic. Every day he will give me a topic and say, okay, write a poem on this. So the topic will be like table or chair or tap. So any kind of topic, and you have to write a poem on that. So that's how writing and poetry comes. And I used to travel in train, like when I got selected in IIT Roorkee. So from Bareilly to Roorkee, I used to travel in train local compartment every week, up and down. So in that, I used to have conversations with the people around. So that 5 hours, 4 to 5 hours of journey, there I became a speaker. Now I'm using all those things which I have learned during that period. So I believe that's the simple profile.
So sir, I want to take you back to your college days when you graduated from IIT Roorkee in 1996. So at that time, did you have any idea or an intent of what you will do with your career, or were you scared as most graduates are?
Yeah, I also was thoroughly confused. It was in the same kind of confusion. In fact, I had multiple options. One was that should I go into a IT company, because that time IT was booming, and like in our time TCS came and out of a batch of 300 they took 176 people. I was not there in 176 that time. So there was a dream that, okay, should I get into IT? I was not sure whether I should get into IT or not, and what kind of career I will get. Second is, you are from mechanical or industrial engineering kind of a department, so should you go into core or should you go into IT? So that tussle was there. For me, another option was whether you want to go into poetry as a profession and leave engineering and whatever. So I did not have that much courage to leave engineering for poetry. I got into Tata Motors, and I was happy. Look, my philosophy is go by the flow. That point in time, one thing which was very important for me was to earn money. Uh, so I got Tata Motors, stable, started getting money. So everyone at the family was happy. And after that, it was hard work and learning. That has been a philosophy that I should be working hard, and if I'm learning on the job, I'm happy.
Now, sir, a big issue which a lot of youngsters face today is they are not sure how to decide their career path. So, if I could take you probably back to your graduation when you graduated in 1996, what advice would you give to a younger version of yourself, or how would you guide a youngster today?
Point is, we should not get into deciding which path we should go on. It is important what is the dream, where you want to hit. And what I have seen in my whole career is that whenever I picked up a role model, you don't have to say that I am picking this person as a role model. That is not something to showcase. But if you pick somebody as a role model, you start working towards that goal or that dream. That you pick somebody who is, say, the youngest CHRO, and you want to become the youngest CHRO or a youngest CEO. So somewhere it gives you energy, it pushes you to work in that direction. try to see success stories, or if you can create your own success story that people follow you, nothing like it, do that. uh, so role models help. And Nick, till now what I do is every year, and I completed that exercise last week. Every year in the month of December, I sit and I write down what I will do next year, and it has to be aspirational. Every year whatever I write, I achieve at least 30 to 40% of whatever I write. So even at the start of your career, that is a good thing to do. I should have done this at that point in time. It would have been really helpful.
Now, sir, you have done your MBA from INSEAD, which is one of the top business schools across the globe. So, what is your personal opinion on MBA or any post graduation degree? Do you think it is required to grow in career in today's date?
So I will tell you a story and then I will tell you my personal thought. So there was a guy called Moolchand. So he did not have any work. So what he did was he took a stamp and he started sitting outside the court. So whosoever is going inside the court, he will say, okay, uh, put a Moolchand stamp. So each and every form he started stamping for free. After some time, what happened? One day, the judge opened the document and he said, there is no Moolchand stamp on this. So he returned the document. So MBA degree has become like that. So it is important to have an MBA degree. There is certain value associated with MBA. Anyone who has done MBA should go through that rigor, which generally good B schools take you through. That they put you through a 16-hour shift and they push you to go through cases and prepare presentations. They make you confident in certain aspects which are required at corporates. So if you are looking at that value, do MBA. Otherwise, Mulchand stamp is always there.
Now, as a leader in the industry, what are your expectations from youngsters who are joining as freshers, or let's say any new recruits? What qualities do you look for in them?
Basic quality is whether the person can do the job or not. And second is whether the person is willing to do the job or not. So willing, when you are talking to a person, you can understand in the conversation whether the person is willing to do the job or not. Now for freshers, it is difficult to understand whether the person will be able to do the job or not. So what you do is you try to check the learnability aspect of the person. So if you're talking to somebody, is the person able to understand what you are saying? So that is comprehension. And whether the person is able to answer those things. So you try to push back the person and the person comes back again and again. Then you say, okay, perseverance is there, comprehension is there, communication is there. And nowadays, one more thing which has come into the mix, that is understanding of digital. And going forward, digital is also going to be one of the important characteristics which people will look for. I believe these are the basic things which, in fact, any MBA school also asks for.
So, when you say understanding the digital, does it mean understanding like Microsoft Excel and all the online platforms, or do you mean in terms of understanding the marketing aspect of being digital?
No, what I mean is, suppose right now we are interacting through a Zoom call. So, can you put up a Zoom call, or like if you have to process payments, can you do payments through digital mode? Uh, so, it is the way you think. If I ask you to do a survey, will you say, okay, I will do the survey using Google Forms? Or if I ask you to do a translation, will you look for a dictionary or will you look for Google Translate? So I'm promoting Google a lot. It is not that. Point is, do you know Google tools? Not Google tools, digital tools, which you can use to. In fact, right now, the people who are coming out, you find that they're digital savvy. If you have to buy something, will you go to an e-commerce platform or will you go to a shop? So you should be comfortable with using a e-commerce platform. You should be comfortable using e-tools because most of the companies are going to move to using e-tools for their customers, and they would expect their employees to know about e-tools and help them build those things.
Now, considering that you have over 25 years of experience, what is your key advice when it comes to leadership?
So treat people with respect, give them a purpose, uh, support those who are genuinely working towards a reason. If uh, you are not pursuing something, even if you are pursuing something, you have a vision. If someone else is doing something good, join hands. So that is basically going out of your comfort zone and making sure that world is becoming a better place. And leadership is not a position, it is a mindset, it is an attitude. So and most importantly, don't become leader for others, do it for yourself, because it is a thankless job. So if you feel good that I am doing something for the society, I am doing something for the larger good, then it is worth it.
I want to take you from your professional life into your personal life now. So, how did your journey as an influencer start? Because I've seen the content you post on LinkedIn. They are very simple to read, easy to understand, and yet inspiring. So, how did that journey start?
Look, there was a phase when I was under a lot of stress, and in everyone's life that phase comes. So what I found was that there were people who were writing good things. There were people whom I talked to, and I felt positive vibrations, and I was able to come out of that bad phase. And I'm still thankful to those people who actually wrote those kind of things. So when I came out of that phase, then I started thinking I should also do something which is positive. And you never know, people just write certain things, and you don't know whose life you are going to touch. See, there is nothing harm if you are taking out some time from your life and doing something like this. So my first thing was, I was not writing initially. Um, Somebody actually wrote to me on, and he said, "I'm going for an interview. I want to talk to you." So I actually chatted with him for some time, and then next day he went there, cracked interview. He came and thanked me. So I said, "Look, you only cracked the interview. What is there for me?" So he said, "No, it is. I know I have cracked the interview, but talking to you gave me a lot of positive energy inside me, and I was more confident." So from there, the whole thing started. And after that, what he does is anytime he goes for an interview, he actually pings me, "Are you free? I want to talk." It is not that I give him anything new. He knows his strengths, he realizes. Then I started writing about my experiences, and somehow people started liking it. So uh, that's how I became an influencer. I don't know what that means, but if you are doing something positive for people, spreading positivity in the environment, I am all for it. If I can do some bit of change, some bit of positive thing in lives of people, I'm happy. I'm good with that.
So, can you tell us a little bit more about your book, Nothing About Business? Because I've seen how the cover picture is. You have written everything about business and you have cut it and you've written nothing, which is quite attractive. So, what inspired you to write this book and who is the target audience for this book?
Look, I wanted to write a book for past 25 years. When I was a kid, in fact, I was cleaning my Almirah during the COVID period. I found that when I was studying in ninth class, I wrote a list of topics on which I wanted to write a book. And so that piece was there. Then during the period, I wrote a book, went to multiple publishers. Nobody was ready to publish that book. Then I met Abhijit Bhaduri. So he is a well-established author. So I asked him. He said, "If you believe in your book, then you should publish it. Why wait for a publisher?" I said, "Fine." And I was writing on LinkedIn continuously, and then I found people are liking it, and somebody said, why don't you collate this whole thing and put it as a book? So I left all the other books. I collated what people were already liking, uh, have put them in sections properly, and published this as a book. So as far as audience goes, all the people who are looking for positivity, so be it students, teachers, people who are getting into corporates, uh, leaders, managers, HR professionals. So there is a lot in that book, and I have got it reviewed through multiple people just to make sure that I was also not sure whether it is a good book, but after seeing all those reviews and the way people looked at book, I believe it is a good book, and somebody from US read that book. He said, "Read this book yourself and make your children read this book. It will help them in the future." So that gives you a lot of confidence and positive energy. Okay, so whatever you have done, and that is creating some impact, some positive vibes in the environment.
So, sir, as you mentioned, you are an author, you are a poet, you create content on LinkedIn. So, there are multiple side hustles which you pursue along with your professional career. So, oftentimes, when people start these small side hustles, they find it difficult to juggle between them. So, can you share some tips on how do you do it?
LinkedIn was very simple. I used to travel from home to office. That half an hour I had nothing to do. So I used to sit, and that was my own 30 minutes. I used to write something for LinkedIn, post it. So I was not uh, taking out time from somewhere. It was my time, and I used it productively for this. I do proper justice to my work. Work comes first, and after that, suppose you have a Saturday or a Sunday. So I do many things, and it is important to do many things. It is important to pursue your hobbies. I still do poetry, I do painting, I do writing. Means there are 8 10 things which I have kept for myself, which I keep doing. If I am not doing anything, I am watching movies, I'm playing games, or I'm doing courses on Coursera. So there are host of things which you can do, and frankly speaking, you give 12 to 14 hours to your work, not more than that. Still after that, you get 2 to 4 hours which you can either spend with your family, or you can decide that how you want to spend that time. So up to, like, how you want to juggle is totally up to you. It is totally in your hands.
So, sir, based on your career journey and your experiences, if you had to share few life lessons which you have picked up over a period of time, what would those be?
Look, I have a 5D philosophy. So if anyone has to progress or do well in life, one is the person should have a desire to do something. So moment you get to desire that I want to achieve something, and that is why I said go for role models, look for role models. So first is create a desire for yourself. If you have seen 102 Not Out, there the father, 102-year-old father, actually created desire in the heart of his 67-year-old son by saying, I will throw you out of home. So from there came desire, yeah, I want to do something. And once you have desire, then you start dreaming. Then you should dream that, okay, what I would like to do in this particular domain. My mentors have always told me, if you're doing something, try to do that world class. So anything you are doing, even the smallest thing you are doing, try to do that world class. So dream, desire, dream, and third thing which you should do is you should have guts to go out and do whatever you want to do. So once you have dreamt, take a step out. If you are thinking of swimming, you have to get into the pool. Uh, Take that much amount of guts to get into the pool. And when you are getting into the pool, One important piece is distinction. How you are different from others if you want to create your place. Honey Singh also sings, but he sings differently. So it is not that he has come with a Atmasur. Point I am making here is everyone has a USP. You have to find your USP and you have to come out and put that USP in front of people. And after that, it is discipline. So if you are going through a disciplined approach, the people who have created those gardens of flowers in Amsterdam, you ask that lady how you have created such a big garden. He said, one flower at a time. So that discipline actually helps you create something which is larger than life. So that is the 5D philosophy I believe in.
Now, I had the opportunity to see your TED Talks and your speeches, and from those, you come across as someone who's very calm in his approach, and it has a lot to do with the mental fitness. So, what is your advice when it comes to mental fitness, considering that the youth today are quite stressed, whether it has to do with their personal life or whether it's professional life? How would you advise them on this?
Look, stress comes, some amount of stress is good also because that gives you push to move forward. If there is no stress, actually, you will not progress. So, managing stress, first thing is make sure that you're sound on the family side. The biggest stresses come from personal stresses. So, if you are taking care of your family or personal life, then you are sorted at least the largest chunk of the stress which you might get. Second is the second biggest stress comes from your supervisor, the boss. So, if you know how to communicate, how to deal with your supervisor, then you can actually manage the stress. Um, and even after that, suppose you are having the stress, then there are breathing techniques. So, join Art of Living. Understand how you can actually bring down the stress. Uh, you should be able to do logical reasonings among in your mind that okay, why I am stressed, and if you get the answer, okay, this is the reason I am stressed. Moment you call out the reason, you will find that the stress will go away. um, Initially in like in the beginning of my career, I used to have cold feet. Suppose if there is a situation, so many a times you run away or you get stuck, what will happen? I learned over a period of time, even when the situation is bad, keep working, and slowly that stress will go away. Because if you stand still, that stress will get bigger. But if you keep moving, if you keep working, then the stress will go away. So these are certain things which I've followed in my life and which have helped.
On a broad level, based on your experience and by being a leader in the industry today, what are your thoughts on how India will shape itself by, let's say, 2040? Where should a youngster today focus most of their time on?
India is going to have better education level as we move to 2040. So that is a very positive thing for India, that there will be more educated people. Second is India will be much more digital. Like in digital adoption, any which ways we are progressing well. Uh, but there is a urban rural divide. You will see that urban rural divide going down and more people coming into digital lifestyle as we progress. Third thing is you will see a lot of business and jobs shifting to smaller towns, and the development will start happening in the smaller towns by 2040. Another thing which will happen is that all these traditional jobs which are there. Look, in 1990s, that was a era when people moved from government jobs to private jobs. And private jobs, earlier there was a stigma attached. So that stigma has gone away. Same way, gig jobs, that stigma will go away. And in next 10 years, you will find uh, that there are more jobs on the gig side and they will be looked at with with same amount of respect.
When you're saying gig side, can you explain what exactly gig side basically means?
So right now, when you talk about job is like 9 to 5 job, and when you are getting into a particular job, you are working only for one employer. So in future, there are going to be multiple employers. You can choose your time, that what time I want to work. You can pick up projects and do those projects on your own based on your skill and competency. So there are portals like Upwork. You can actually go to Upwork, pick up a job, and you can complete that job. So in a similar manner, you can decide how many hours you want to work, what kind of work you want to pick, and what kind of work you want to execute, what is your skill. So lot of things are going to be skill based, and you get paid based on whatever job you're executing. You do better work, more jobs you will get. So it is that kind of economy we are talking.
So, Mr. Harjeet sir, thank you again for taking out your time to share these valuable key points with all of us. I will be attaching the links for your social media handles in the description of the video. And thank you again for being a part of this.
Anytime. And it was great interacting with you.